Lynn is a very versatile mage class, having answers to pretty much any question throw at her while she's in a boss fight, whether you're by yourself or with a party. Multiple healing skills that all do different things, some pretty large party buffs, and outside of what she can provide to parties, she's pretty mobile, and her animal friends all have really nice attacks that all build upon each other. Her biggest challenge is probably just knowing when and where to use all her various support skills, so let's just get into all that. Starting off with beginner skills, this will be quick. A company toggles your spirit guide pet friends following you around, on or off, 10-second cooldown. Focus is a skill that targets one party member of your choice and makes them the center of attention for any of your supportive skills that start with focus that you get throughout your job ranks. Each click of the skill cycles between party members, and you can even hold down and click the skill to select the previous party member, just in case you passed them up. If you're not in a party, or if you're in a party by yourself, you'll always be the focus target. Lastly, Lynn's Link skill is Spirit Guide Blessing, and it simply gives boss damage, crit rate, and a little bit of max health and mana. Really good Link skill for everybody. First job gives us a flash jump, this basic magic guard-like passive, which also increases mastery, int, and magic attack, as well as our first spirit guide friend, Pan. We get one skill that features him, Strike, which happens to be Lynn's basic attacking skill for everything she does, throughout all job ranks. When you do attack with Pan skills, you also gain a stacking final damage buff that stacks up to 3 times and lasts for 30 seconds. This skill also passively gives some IED, defense, and reduced damage taken. You also get your very first focus skill at first. Focus Heal just heals a percentage of your focus target's health over the course of 40 seconds, 1 minute cooldown. Second job provides some more expected passives for mastery, and this one that's similar to Explorer Mage's MP Eater. Oh, another animal friend too. Penny is this bird, and his main skill is Peck, which is a toggle that summons him and attacks alongside you. Just like Pan, Penny also has a Spirit Guide Unity passive, this time passively giving some crit rate and mobility stats. It has the same final damage buff as Pan's too. Lastly, you also get a couple new mobility skills. First, this up jump, and second, Sweep. Sweep lets you dash in nearly every direction except up and down, and you simply just hold which direction you wanted to dash in. It consumes 1 charge every time you use this skill, holds up to 5 charges, and recharges 1 charge every 5 seconds at max level. Fun little tip/fact about Sweep: every time you use this skill, it resets your flash jump and up jump. You can get some pretty nutty mobility going with this skill. Third job has these passives for defenses, stats, and mastery, and also this one for your new animal friend, Payon. You can summon Payon through this new toggle, Sneak Attack. Every time a Spirit Guide skill hurts an enemy, either through Pan or Penny, there's a follow-up attack accompanying it. 2-second cooldown in between attacks. Of course, yep, you also get a Spirit Guide Unity accompanying your third and final animal friend. Same final damage stacking buff, but this time this skill passively gives you a ton of crit rate, crit damage, boss damage, and attack speed. You get a few new support skills here at third too. Focus Support Flight makes you move to whoever you're focused on. If you hold down and press the skill, the focus target will instead move to you. 20-second cooldown. Nature's Providence is a neat buff that gives you and everyone else in your party some IED for 90 seconds. And Purify is just a party-wide dispel, removing abnormal status conditions from party members. 30-second cooldown. Ending off third job skills, attacks. First, you get Peck and Strike upgrades. More damage for both, and an extra line of damage exclusively for Peck. Earth Pulverization is a Pan skill that makes him slam the ground, and leave a damage over time field right in front of where you cast it. It does damage every second it's out, lasts for 30 seconds, has a 30-second cooldown at its max level, and does so much extra damage to normal monsters. Really useful grinding skill. Fourth job gives you all these passives for mastery, various stat increases, a focus target boost if you cast Focus Heal, and then this one for extra item drop rate through Nature's Providence. It applies to the whole party too. There's also the expected Maple Warrior and Hero's Will. Aside from all of those, you also get a bunch of active skills to use. Let's get the non-attacking ones squared away first. Mother Nature's Touch gives you and all party members a one-time heal that also gives a heal over time and dispels abnormal statuses. 1 minute cooldown. Support Flight, yes, a skill with the same name and same function as the Focus variant from third job, simply teleports all party members right to your location. 30-second cooldown. Whirlwind is a situational kind of utility attack that whooshes you backwards and puts you in the air for up to 3 whole seconds if you hold down the skill. It can be used in the air, and even after up jumping and going up with sweep, you can get some mad height with this skill if you wanted or needed it. 15-second cooldown. Okay, actual attacking skills time. The expected strike and peck upgrades, dishing out an extra attack and more damage for both. And a new pan skill. Roar is an explosive AoE shout attack that damages nearby enemies in a pretty large range. 30-second cooldown. Lastly, Predator's Blow makes Payon swipe an enemy from behind and deal a nice chunk of damage to enemies it hits. Enemies hit by the swipe receive a debuff that makes them take more damage, even from party members' attacks. 40-second cooldown. Hyper skills are pretty balanced all around in terms of function. Raid shoots Payon straight forward horizontally, and then he attacks with a bunch of whooshy whooshes and slashes once he comes into contact with enemies. 30-second cooldown. Aura of Destiny is the epic adventure equivalent for Jonghu classes, so Lynn and Mojwan for now. 10% damage for you and all other Lins in the party, 1 minute uptime, 2 minute cooldown. Lastly, your third hyper skill, Focus Forest Protection, is a really cool bubble that reduces damage for you and all other party members standing within it. Not only does it reduce damage, but it also gives everybody an extra life if they die inside the bubble. The focus part of this skill is just making the bubble spawn on top of whoever is the focus target. 40-second duration, 5-minute cooldown for both the skill and the revive. Hyper passives kinda guide you into taking the most useful ones. Starting with Strike, you'll want Reinforce for extra damage, and Extra Strike for an extra line of damage. Strike is your main attacking skill you'll spam throughout everything, and both of these just make it stronger. Critical chance is not really necessary, especially once you cap out your critical rate, which everyone can comfortably achieve nowadays through a combined effort of link skills, legion blocks and grid, and artifacts, and hyperstats if you need it even more for some reason. So yeah, get everything for Strike except crit chance. For the next group of passives for Peck, hey, look at that, crit chance is back. Guess what you don't want to get? Yeah, guard break! And of course crit chance too. Get that out of here. Reinforce is a good pick at least, because Penny does some pretty decent passive damage. Guard break is okay, but you get much more impact from a damage increase than an ignore enemy defense increase, pretty much across the board in all of MapleStory. That, and there's just much better choices, given you only have 5 points to use, which will be used on this last group of passives for Sneak Attack. Look at them. You know what I'm gonna say if you've been listening. Get Reinforced for extra damage, and Extra Strike for an extra line of damage. Payon is your other fairly strong animal friend passive, and an extra line of damage alongside more damage across the board on top of all of that. Great picks to get. Just like Peck though, Guard Break just gets outclassed by damage increases. If you set your eyes to ignore all the Guard Break and critical chance increasing passives, Lynn's hypers are fairly clear and obvious. Lynn's fifth job is very simple. 2 buffs, 2 attacks. First, Beak Strike transforms Penny into a bigger bird, still doing the same swooping down and attacking enemies he always does, but now doing it a lot more frequently, independently, and hitting harder. 40-second duration, 2-minute cooldown. Focus Awaken is the biggest support skill Lynn gets. It gives you and your focus target a massive final damage buff. It gives some base final damage, and then also scales by an extra 1% for every however many int you have. Currently it's 1000, soon it might be 2000, but anyways, it scales with your int, up to a cap depending on the level of the skill. I'm not being very specific here because this skill might get nerfed soon, but essentially it gives Lynn some final damage, and then your focus target some more final damage. Anyways, 30-second duration, 2-minute cooldown. Beast's Rage makes Payon lash out in an area all around you, for a few seconds, just dealing big constant damage. Simple. 2-minute cooldown. Lastly for Lynn's skills, Nature's Grace is another healing type skill. It heals you and all party members, and also gives everybody the excess healing effect for 30 seconds, letting overheals that go past your max health instead be a shield, going up to 200% or double your max health. So anything above 100% of your max health is a shield. Once the skill ends, the shield goes away for everybody. 3-minute cooldown. Now on to shared skills, starting with the Jonghu classes. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, by the way. Power of Destiny is an oddity of a skill. The skill on its own does nothing, until you pick one of its 4 options through this skill, Ring of Samsara. You can only choose one skill every day, only being able to change it once daily reset comes around, so choose carefully. Each color corresponds to a different buff. Red gives Power of Destiny Might, giving you extra damage for 45 seconds, 90-second cooldown. Blue gives Power of Destiny Perceive, giving you IED for a minute, 3-minute cooldown. Yellow gives Power of Destiny Boon, which gives flat attack, magic attack, and all stats for a minute, 90-second cooldown. And lastly, green gives Power of Destiny Journey, which just gives normal enemy damage for 5 minutes, 10-minute cooldown. Maple World Goddess's Blessing just gives you a damage buff, as well as makes your Maple Warrior much stronger for a whole minute, 2-minute cooldown. Shared mage skills are basic but nice. Mana Overload is a toggle that makes most of your attacks stronger, at the cost of an extra percentage of your max mana with every cast. Once you toggle it on, it stays toggled on forever, and never goes away until you run out of mana, and it has a 1-minute cooldown from the moment you toggle it on. At max level, that cooldown goes down to 30 seconds. Lastly, Ethereal Form reduces damage you take and gives you Super Stance for 3 seconds. The damage you'd normally take to your health is instead subtracted from your mana at a flat amount that changes per level of the skill. Again, just like Mana Overload, this only works if you have enough mana for it. 1-minute cooldown. One last note, keep in mind Ethereal Form is going to change in the near future, to instead just be a 3-second iframe. Lynn's not all that complicated. You can get by with her mostly fine by just popping her toggles and smacking everything with Strike. If you wanted more specifics on her whole kit though, strap in, because it's time to make her easy. Stacking all of Lynn's various final damage buffs from all 3 Spirit Guide Unity skills is not hard at all, and gives you a combined total of 45% final damage. All you need to do is toggle Peck and Sneak Attack on, and attack with Strike to get stacks for all 3 of your animal friends. For Payon stacks though, it sometimes can be slightly more effort. If you don't one-shot whatever you're attacking, he comes out with the other animal friends' attacks just fine. If you are killing said enemies in one hit though, you'll need to attack with Payon skills like Raid, Predator's Blow, and Beast's Rage. One more thing about Payon, his own skills may not trigger Sneak Attack, but every time his Sneak Attack procs with other animal attacks, that grants a Payon stack. Here's something I want to highlight that I haven't really seen people mention much. Lynn is a really mobile class. While you can't flash jump after an up jump, or vice versa, you can instead dash in and out of both flash jump and up jump with sweep. As I mentioned back in second job skills, flash jump and up jump reset with every sweep as well, meaning you can use them right after using sweep. Side note, you can even shorten sweep's dash distance if you cast it earlier in the sweep animation. If you set some time away to practicing chaining these together, you have some pretty versatile mobility, with pretty wide coverage, both horizontally and vertically. Even more so if you wanted to chain Whirlwind into all that, which teleports you diagonally behind whichever way you're currently facing. It really isn't hard. Power of Destiny Might, the red one, is the best overall buff to pick from that whole skill because it gives percent damage. It's the most impactful overall skill to choose. Perceive's IED can help if you needed it, but you'd get more mileage out of damage in most cases. Honestly, Journey's normal monster damage boost isn't a bad pick either, if you planned on doing nothing but grinding that whole day, though usually that's unnecessary too, as at a point, you'll be comfortably one-shotting mobs anyways. It can help close that gap if you ever so needed it though. Boon is just not great in my opinion, as a flat amount of attack and all stats isn't as impactful, even with its fairly long uptime and shorter downtime. All of them are still okay enough buffs, but Might is just objectively the best for everything. For grinding, Lynn is more active than other classes. Toggle on Peck and Sneak Attack, place down Earth Pulverization in a good spot, or to Fountain 2 if you have that on a node slot, and jump around spamming Strike, having Penny and Payon occasionally coming out and cleaning up remaining mobs. Add in Sweep if you wanted to cover more ground quickly, and whichever of your 5th job skills you felt like using, just to spice things up a little. This is pretty much your only option prior to 6th job. At 6th, you get to be a little lazier with Soul Janus, either by placing the Dawn Orbs around the map on one side, or just having Dusk slapped down on everything just out of reach. For bossing, let's get the offensive side of things out of the way first. Make sure the boss is debuffed with Predator's Blow, also make sure your toggles are all on, and just keep attacking with Strike. Then, just keep using any of your shorter cooldown attacks like Raid or Roar, until it comes near your time to burst. Once you are ready to start attacking, yeah, just pop everything that either increases damage or does damage. Having Earth Pulverization out for a little extra damage isn't a horrible idea either. I will suggest saving Sweep for mobility purposes, and also Whirlwind for avoiding danger quickly, with it being a teleport that gets you off the ground and all. Now for all the party/supportive-centric things. Support Flight is a niche skill for yanking your party to wherever you are, just in case they're standing right in danger, or you want to reposition them into an area that has stationary buffs, etc. Just don't troll with it and spam it often. That's a surefire way of making your party mad at you. Purify is useful for removing a lot of debilitating status conditions, but there are some limitations. For example, it can't remove Potion Lock or Black Mage's black and white curses, but things like stuns, blinds, reverse, etc. should all be fair game and cleanse just fine. For party buffs, Lynn is a lot. The most useful one you can spam that's just good for everybody being Nature's Providence. A fat chunk of IED and drop rate, which also stacks with Holy Symbol's drop rate. There's also Mother Nature's Touch and Nature's Grace for heals with pretty large ranges. The excess shield aspect of Nature's Grace is really nice. For focus skills, heal is very simply a heal over time. Forest Protection's focus aspect is just where the bubble is going to spawn. Also, make sure your focus target is on the ground when you cast this skill. If it's in the air, it gets completely wasted and doesn't reduce damage or prevent one-shots, unless you're in one specific little spot. For a skill with a 5-minute cooldown, that kinda sucks. The focus version of Support Flight goes two ways, where pressing the skill on its own moves you to your focus target, and pressing down moves them to you. Last but absolutely not least, Awaken is a really useful final damage buff for both you and your focus target. Even after it gets nerfed, if it ever does, it's still a fairly important buff to use when it comes time to burst. Lynn, I think, overall has the most support out of any one other class remaining in this entire game, combined all together for utility, offense, and defense. Truly the cutest Swiss Army knife for any party. Link skills should come as no surprise to you. Yeah, they're the same as everybody else. For grinding, Aran, Mercedes, and Evan for extra combo orb XP, extra flat XP gained, and extra rune duration respectively. If you needed more normal enemy damage, Lara's Link is good for that too. The rest of the gaps can be filled in with whatever other damage dealing links you may or may not have, may or may not want to use. You get it by now. A layout like this? Yep, that's good. For bossing, anything increasing boss damage. AB Link is good on everybody for when it comes time to burst. Arc Solus is good if you're consistently spamming attacks a lot. Both the demons alongside Kana give a good increase to damage, etc. Some layout something like this. With of course Resistance Link for 8 seconds of invincibility every time you revive in a boss fight. Inner ability is not too dissimilar from other mage classes. For a bossing setup, first line you'll want attack speed +1 to get more attacks out quicker, namely Strike. For the second and third lines you'll want either boss damage, buff duration, or abnormal status damage. Boss damage is self-explanatory. Abnormal status damage is good for when the boss is debuffed, since that's just free extra damage. And buff duration only for a longer AB Link. The abnormal status damage and buff duration lines are fairly similar and close to each other in terms of damage output and functionality. Apparently it's less than a 0.1% final damage difference, with the Lynn Discord specifically citing buff duration being slightly better for party bossing, and abnormal being slightly better for solo bossing. Much later into 6th job, they also state attack speed +1 gets outclassed by passives +1, with this whole explanation as to why. Summed up, Strike starts doing less damage output towards your overall combined rotation, but not until you're about 8,000 fragments into 6th job. So if you plan to main Lynn, there's something to keep in mind way down the line. Sorry for that mini tangent. For a grinding preset, the usual drop, meso, and normal monster damage. I don't really have to explain much for Trinodes. You'll want to boost everything here. There's 6 skills to boost, and the order of the Trinodes doesn't really matter. Obviously, if you wanted more damage first and foremost, the main Trinode you'd want to get in boost would consist of Strike, Peck, and Sneak Attack. Both your attacking toggles are here, and your main spammable attacking skill is included in the bunch. So that leaves 3 more skills to boost, and these all boost 2 skills at once. Earth Pulverization, which also boosts Roar, Sweep, which also boosts Whirlwind, and Predator's Blow, which also boosts Raid. All the skills in this secondary Trinode are still useful, and are all skills you'll still be regularly using, but technically slightly less impactful than your main bread and butter in one way or another. If you plan to play this class in any capacity, you'll still want to boost everything. For Burst/BA, before all else, make sure the Power of Destiny you picked for the day is Might. The red one, the one that matters the most. Now we can proceed with Peck and Sneak Attack being toggled on, alongside Mana Overload if you had it and wanted to use it. Here is where you'd want to use Predator's Blow, for its debuff for both you and your party if you're not solo bossing. Now it's buff time. If you're bossing all by yourself, pop Focus Heal for a little bit extra flat attack and magic attack. Make sure Nature's Providence is up and active, alongside whatever other decent skills you could use too. Pop Maple World Goddess's Blessing, Aura of Destiny, Power of Destiny Might, Focus Awaken for a big final damage boost, and a B-Link. Now get all your various cooldown attacks out. Beak Strike, Raid, Roar, and Beast's Rage. I don't think the order of these matters too much, beyond Beak Strike before the others, because it lasts the longest. Then from here, just keep spamming Strike. You can include any of your other shorter cooldown attacking skills as they come back up too, just until it nears your time to burst all over again. Shorten down. Toggles, buffs, Maple World Goddess's Blessing, Aura of Destiny, Power of Destiny Might, Focus Awaken, a B-Link, Beak Strike, Raid, Roar, Beast's Rage, Spam Strike, and other shorter cooldown skills when they're up. When you get your Origin at 6th job, you'll want that slotted in at the very end of all your burst, before spamming Strike. Your off burst is just going to consist of spamming Strike and shorter cooldown skills, while waiting for your next big burst opportunity. While Earth Pulverization isn't included anywhere in here, having it included sometime prior to bursting can help with both a minimal extra boost in damage, as well as proccing your animal friends' attacks when you aren't actively attacking quite yet. Very simple burst rotation, to be honest. Just pop everything you got, basically. Lynn was a very unexpected class for me to learn, in a good way. I knew she had a bunch of utility, but I always personally got scared off from thinking all her focus skills were convoluted and confusing, when they really aren't at all. I haven't really played her ever since she used to be Beast Tamer, but the whole snappiness of her entire kit really feels nice to me. Meaning there's a decent chance I'll come back to playing her someday. Why do I keep enjoying learning and playing every class in this game? Thanks to the Lynn Discord for having this class so thoroughly fleshed out. Every question I had about the specifications of Lynn was answered right there in the FAQ, and more. And thank you for watching my guide. If there's other classes you want me to cover next, or any other Maple related videos you'd like for me to make, suggest some down in the comments. If you just like my videos for whatever reason, consider subscribing to the channel. You could probably guess from this video's timing alone, but I have a pretty good idea of what class I want to cover next, though I might hold off and spend some time researching them before then, and cover some other class y'all wanted me to go over, if you wanted me to go over something else. That's all.